You think you know cheese, right? I mean, it's everywhere, on our pizza, in our sandwiches. It's the star of the show on a charcuterie board. But what if I told you that simple block of cheddar has a secret life? One that's way more fascinating than you could ever imagine.
For instance, what if I told you that some cheeses are quite literally alive?
That some are actually illegal to sell in many parts of the world.
And that some types of cheese are actually older than most of written history itself.
Yep. Today, we're diving deep into the secret life of cheese. We're going to uncover the science, the history, and some of the truly bizarre truths behind one of the world's most beloved foods. So, where do we even begin? Well, right at the start. See, cheese wasn't some brilliant invention. It was an accident, a simple mistake that ended up completely changing the course of human history.
So, how did this even happen? I want you to picture this. We're talking about 8,000 years ago. Nomadic herders are on the move, and they're storing milk in these pouches made from animal stomachs. It's just what they had. As they traveled, the natural enzymes in that stomach lining, called rennet, caused the milk to curdle. Now, instead of throwing it out, someone was brave enough, or maybe just hungry enough, to taste the curds. And just like that, cheesemaking was born. An incredible accident.
And believe it or not, that happy accident gave birth to a whole science. Because at its heart, cheesemaking, well, it's basically a form of controlled rot. I know, it sounds a little gross, but that incredible flavor we all love comes from the absolute magic of fermentation.
Okay, so how does that work? Think of it like a three-step dance. First, cheesemakers introduce specific microbes into the milk. We're talking bacteria, molds, enzymes. Then, these tiny microbes get to work, breaking down all the proteins and fats. And finally, this is the magic part, that breakdown process creates hundreds of new flavor compounds. That's what gives every single cheese its unique personality.
And of course, time is a massive ingredient here. A young cheese, like a fresh mozzarella, has a pretty mild, simple flavor. That's because those microbes haven't had much time to do their thing. But in an aged cheese, like a good Parmesan, those little guys have been working for months, even years, creating over 500 unique flavor compounds. That's where you get those incredible, complex, nutty, sometimes even meaty flavors.
But okay, it's not just about the amazing flavors. There's a really powerful chemical reason we crave cheese. Which brings us to our next section. Let's get into the hidden chemistry behind why your brain absolutely loves cheese. And the star of that show is a little compound called casomorphin. So when you digest casein, that's the main protein in milk, your body releases these things. And here's the totally wild part. Casomorphins attach to the exact same opioid receptors in your brain as narcotics. Now, of course, the effect isn't nearly as intense, but the pleasure-triggering mechanism, it's the same.
So what does that actually feel like for you? Well, when you eat cheese, these casomorphins light up those opioid receptors, triggering signals of pleasure, reward, and pure comfort. This is why cheese literally feels so good to eat. It's why it can be tied to such powerful emotional memories, and yeah, it's why it's so darn hard to stop at just one slice. All right, now that we've got the science down, let's get into the fun stuff. A trip into the world of weird cheese. And when I say weird, I mean weird. We're talking everything from live maggots to microscopic mites. Just to put this into perspective for you, there are over 2,000 distinct varieties of cheese in the world, and that number is always growing as cheesemakers get more and more creative.
And yeah, some of those varieties are, well, they're pretty intense. Take Sazu Marzu from Sardinia. It's a sheep's milk cheese, and it's famous, or infamous, for containing live insect larvae. See, the maggots help break down the fats, making the cheese incredibly soft and creamy. It's considered a delicacy, but for pretty obvious reasons, it's also banned in a lot of places.
And if you think that's wild, let's talk about mimolette from France. You see that kind of moon crater surface on the rind? Yeah, that's not just for looks. It's created by microscopic cheese mites that are intentionally put on the cheese to burrow into the surface. This aerates the cheese and helps develop its unique flavor. You are literally eating the handiwork of mites.
Okay, here's a question you've probably had at some point. Why does mozzarella get all stretchy and gooey and melty on a pizza, but a cheese like halloumi can be tossed right on the grill and it just doesn't melt? It all comes down to its protein structure. In mozzarella, that structure is pretty loose, so it falls apart with heat. But in halloumi, the proteins are bonded so tightly that they hold their shape, even when you blast them with heat. Just a simple chemical difference creates a totally different food.
Okay, so we've covered history, we've covered science, we've even covered some seriously bizarre cheeses. But I promised you one last secret, the one that kind of changes everything. And it's this: cheese is alive.
So, what is this final secret? What's the one thing that will change how you look at cheese forever?
It's this simple idea. Cheese doesn't just passively sit there and age.
It evolves.
Evolves? What does that even mean? It means that a wheel of cheese is literally a living, breathing, dynamic ecosystem. Inside, you've got thousands of microbes constantly communicating. You've got enzymes that are actively reshaping flavor compounds every single day. The chemistry inside that wheel never, ever stops.
And this is the big takeaway. The cheese you eat today, it is not the exact same cheese you would eat tomorrow. Its flavor, its texture, its aroma, it's all in a constant state of change. In a very, very real sense, cheese is alive.
So the next time you pick up a piece of cheese, just take a second. Remember what you're really holding. You're not just eating a piece of food. You're tasting thousands of years of history, you're tasting complex science, and you're tasting a living culture, all in one single bite. And that is an absolutely incredible thing.